Hey there, welcome back. So if you're here today, you are probably navigating one of the most challenging decisions anyone can face, and that is deciding to divorce or to separate or to split. Maybe you have spent months, even years, wrestling with this choice, and finally saying the words, I want a divorce, it's like dropping an emotional bomb, not just for your partner, but for you as well. So today we are going to talk about the first emotional stage your partner might experience when you finally let them know that you want to divorce, and that stage is called denial. I will guide you through it step by step, helping you understand their reactions and, most importantly, teaching you how to respond with clarity and compassion. So now I want you to imagine this. You finally master the courage to say it, to put it out there clearly, calmly. I want a divorce. But instead of acceptance or understanding, your partner might look at you like you spoke another language. They might say things like, no, you don't really mean that, or they will brush it up entirely like the conversation never happened. And that's going to be very frustrating because, this is something you have taken so long to decide. Well, you are witnessing denial, and this is such a powerful psychological defense mechanism that acts as an emotional buffer when facing something deeply painful or very overwhelming. I want to walk you a little bit in understanding denial, yes? So denial is a completely natural reaction. Think of it like your mind hitting the brakes during a sudden stop. It gives your partner's emotions some time to catch up to the reality. It might seem confusing to you, especially if you have thought through your decision carefully with time and had time to make sense of it, right? You had the time to make sense of it. But remember, denial isn't logical. It's emotional. It's their mind way to temporarily protect themselves from the shock of loss. So I want to walk you in the typical reactions that you might encounter when you communicate this. So let's break down some of these common reactions. And one of them is minimizing and downplaying. They might say things like, oh, you're just stressed, or we have been able to solve the problems in the past, we can do it again. And any sort of message that will try to keep you, to stop you from this. They are going to try to shrink the seriousness of your decision because acknowledging it feels too painful. Another one is complete avoidance. They might change the subject abruptly, they might act overly casual, or they might pretend the conversation never happened. They might still talk about future plans as if your marriage is untouched. They could also try to create false hope. This one can be especially tricky. And they might suddenly become overly affectionate. They might promise dramatic changes, or they might suggest things like trips or holidays or romantic gestures or changes. But remember, these actions come from fear. They don't come from acceptance or genuine growth. Now, I want to talk about the actions you should avoid and why. So during this stage, you will need to stay clear and firm. This is super important. You need to avoid things like giving mixed messages. Don't say maybe or suggest that you might reconsider your decision. Ambiguity will keep you both stuck in an emotional limbo. So this is very, very important that you remember this. Stay consistent. Another thing you want to avoid is over-explaining. Repeatedly justifying your decision is only going to exhaust you and will feed your partner's denial. So you need to also be cautious with that. Another thing you want to be cautious of doing is softening your stance. Sure, you can be sympathetic, that's natural, but don't let guilt blur your clarity. It will only prolong the pain for both of you. Stay assertive. Now, I want to talk now about the actions that you should take. And these ones are starting to be clearly communicate your decision. Be firm, be calm, and be consistent. It's very important. You can say things like, for example, I have deeply considered this decision and it's final. Divorce is the best choice for both of us and for our futures. It's very, very important that you are clear with this, okay? Another action I want you to take is to firmly repeat your message when it's needed. Firmly repeat your message when it's needed. So gently but consistently remind them of your decision. And remember, consistency is your best friend here. Stand your ground. Remember why you choose this decision. And then I want you to start practical discussions as early as possible. So things like, for example, logistics, separate living arrangements, or finances, or custody of the kids, in the arrangement for the kids' time with each of you. This really reinforces the reality of your decision. Now, I want to give you a couple of scripts for clear communication. And I'm going to give you some examples of how will this look like. So, for example, if your partner says, you will feel different tomorrow, or you will change your mind calmly, I want you to reply to them, I understand why you might think that, but I have thought this thoroughly. My decision is final. And if they say, you will feel different tomorrow, or you will change your mind, I repeat, you have to let them know that you understand, and you understand why they are saying it, but that you have already thought this thoroughly, and that your decision is final. If they suggest reconnecting through a trip or even suggest couples therapy, you might respond something like, I appreciate your willingness, but this isn't temporary for me. I appreciate your willingness, but this isn't temporary for me. Divorce is the healthiest choice for both of us. Once again, you will tell them that you appreciate their willingness, but this is not temporary for you. And divorce is the healthiest choice for both of you, and you have taken already this decision. Now, I want you to pause for a moment, and I want you to create your own core statement. So a core statement, it's a clear, firm phrase that you can use whenever denial surfaces. Something like, my decision is thoughtful and final. Divorce is the healthiest option for us, as I said before. That could be an example. You have to write it down and use it as your emotional anchor. To help yourself to know if this is the right statement for you, you can ask yourself these questions. So, for example, why did I choose this specific statement? Why this was important for me? How this statement will help me to maintain my clarity and boundaries? How could consistent, clarity help my partner accept reality faster? Look guys, I know this isn't easy. Facing denial from someone that you care deeply can be emotionally exhausting. But by understanding and calmly navigating this first stage, you are building the foundation for a healthier, more respectful separation process. You are creating a space for both of you to eventually move forward with dignity, with clarity, and with the emotional strength. And remember, clarity and compassion can coexist in the same place. You're not alone, and you are doing great. And you're doing great for finally taking this decision. I would love to hear from you which part of navigating denial you find the most challenging. Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to pay attention to the next video, because in the next video I will dive into the second stage. Take care.